Yo, 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 welcome back to the Relistenables. As always, myself, Stephen Moustaris. And for the second time, and for a couple times now on the actual channel, my cousin, as always, Walter Cerrato the third.
Recurring now, right?
Recurring.
Wow.
Part of the family at this rate.
What an honor. Wow.
Honestly, man. I'm loving it. Thank you again for coming on.
Absolutely.
And actually, to be fun, he chose this album that we decided to do.
Yep.
None other than Clifford Harris Jr., other known as T.I.
Yep.
His fifth studio album. July 3rd, 2007, he released none other than T.I.vsT.I.P, T.I.P.
Yep.
And, man, we're about to get into this and, like, talk about what this album's about, like, what songs are on this and everything. But I know this one hits home for you more because I know you were the T.I. guy. You introduced me to T.I. Like, I think maybe Bring 'Em Out. Maybe I'm sure I heard it back in the day.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you, at least coming to the albums and, like, listening to a bunch of these songs, I know for a fact you were the one getting me the burnt CDs and stuff. Uh-huh. So, where were you? You know what I'm saying? 07. Like, pretty sure is that graduating year for you? Or are you?
07 would have been end of freshman year of college, going into sophomore year. Yeah. So, I mean, definitely a time where you're burning CDs. I mean, God, talk about aging myself. You're burning CDs all the time. You're buying CDs. T.I. was absolutely in my rotation. I'd say he was right up there with, the Eminems, DMXs, the 50 Cents, things like that, that I wasn't missing an album. Yeah. I was not missing an album no matter what. Hot Atlanta, Dirty South rap was really big at that time, especially in the early 2000s.
Oh, humongous.
And, T.I. called himself the king of the South.
Yeah, always.
I always kind of thought of all the Atlanta-based rappers, I mean, I really want to make sure I'm not overthinking someone here. Where's Andre 3000 from?
He's from the South. All Outcast.
Are they ATL? Yeah, they're ATL.
Yeah.
So, but I'd say T.I. is right there. Like, him and Ludacris had a little bit of a beef.
Luda was hot.
I always like Ludacris. But I always lean towards T.I. a little bit more. I feel like T.I. will probably never be mentioned in that upper tier with your Biggies, your Pacs, your Jay-Z's, your Kendrick Lamars, your M's, people like them. But I think he is a little underrated. Like, as time has passed, I'd be really curious. Part of the reason why I was interested to do this one was T.I. is one of those artists that, like, I've missed a couple of his last, 2 or 3 albums. I might have got one here or there, but I don't think he's as mainstream anymore. No. Like, I don't think if you walked up to a 20-year-old... Musically.
Yeah. I feel like his acting and
what
he's doing on shows
to acting.
Now. Yeah.
But, I mean, his success and his impact, I think people have kind of forgotten about over time. There was a time, I think it was kind of right around this album was coming out, like in that 05 to 08 range, where he was right there. He was right there with your Jay-Z's, your Kanye West, your... Eminem, things like that, where he had the pedigree.
I mean, Jay-Z, I never knew. I should have looked this up because I didn't do it because I wanted to save it for whenever we do trap music, for Bring 'Em Out and everything, because that was when Jay and whatever. Did Jay-Z sign him, or was he just a huge advocate of him, just always like supporting him?
That's a really good question.
Because Jay-Z knew that he was special because he's on this album.
Yeah,
and Jay-Z doesn't mess with people often if he doesn't believe in you. So. And to bring up the Ludacris, I'm happy you brought that up. If you look at it now in 2021, like, it's kind of funny how similar they are in their careers. Like, their career path starts off, very high respected artist, and then slowly become more mainstream, kind of fall off on the music range. Well, I shouldn't say fall off, but from where they were, kind of falling off, and then going into Hollywood and being very successful and almost being more known for their acting. Like, look at Luda now. I don't think anybody under 20 is telling you that Ludacris did songs. What?
He's the guy that's in the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, Fast and Furious. Yeah, exactly.
Let me ask you this, and again, and the thing I love about doing this, we don't really prep each other.
You can't.
We don't talk like at all. So we
other than letting each other know it's the album, but
hey, you do your homework, I'll do my homework. Let's see how it goes. What genre of hip hop is T.I.? In your opinion.
Well, he'd always like to call himself like the thug rap, the gangster rap. Like, I always thought when you like in this early, like pre-08 T.I., I always thought he was like that gangster rap or whatever. I mean, I would like to kind of consider him South rap, or like Southern rap, clearly, like that ATL whatever, like the
dirty South rap.
Yeah, I'd like to, But honestly, re-listening to this and everything, man, it's like, I hate to say it. I really hate to say it in this, but I think with this album, at least, he almost gave me more of like a mainstream hip-hop, like radio rapper. Not to be mean. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, he definitely had that poppiness to him.
Yeah, pop. Yeah, it's perfect.
If he had to, crank out the top 40 song, the Billboard song, he could do that. But he definitely had the songs that are like your Dirty South rap. And I mean, I know it's changed now, but when they first came on the scene, you're talking about the big wheels on the cars. You're talking about grills. You're
Candy
talking,
Paint.
yeah,
Chameleonaire.
Yeah,
Big Crit. All these guys.
It was an entire kind of subculture of hip hop. And yeah,
Ball, baby.
He
Chopped and Screwed was real big into it too.
Yeah.
Not to be funny, but.
And that was kind of like Chopped and Screwed. Would you say that's kind of like, would you put that in the same category as auto-tune? Because that kind of
auto-tune, mumble rap. I'd put it all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the grandfather of it, or however you want to call that. I mean, don't get me wrong. T.I. definitely, he has the content where he's rapping about the money he has. He's rapping about the cars he has. He's rapping about the drugs that he used to slang.
The struggle.
Or the drugs, yeah. That, are very, very common things you hear, and he's kind of, admiring and putting these things on a pedestal, but at the same time, he does have those songs where it's a little more introspective, and you can tell, hey, this is someone, who's going through something. There's still a couple T.I. songs right now that are on my workout playlist to, like, just get you going. That's, like...
There's a couple on this album we're about to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get you
I think that's one thing I always connected with T.I. Like, don't get me wrong. I like a catchy song that's got a good beat that really doesn't have much depth to it, and it's lyrics and everything. But T.I. and like, obviously Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, DMX, R.I.P.,
Yeah, seriously.
Some of the reason why those are some of my favorite artists is because they can make, the hit song that you're funny, it's fun to sing along with, but they can also write that song that, they're going through something, or...
Yeah, and they can be very vulnerable. Very vulnerable on their music.
And I always respected that. I think as you get... as you get older, especially like us being men, I think something our society kind of tells us, like, don't show emotion. Don't.
It's female. Yeah.
But I've always appreciated someone who can show some vulnerability and kind of let their wall down for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, I'm really, like, when I know one of his best friends, Flaunt Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Got shot
during
the production of this album. And you could tell, like, it was a very big part of his process putting this music together.
Oh, it
made an impact on him.
This is what, to go into this, actually, to finally go into it, this is what T.I.vsT.I.P is. Like, for many people that don't know, Tip used to be his actual rap name.
Yep.
It was his nickname. And then he a huge influence from Q-Tip,
You know what it stands for? You know what it stands for?
I remember you telling me this back in the day. Is it actually 10-inch penis?
That's what it stands for.
Okay.
Or no, 10-inch playa.
Oh, 10-inch
10-inch playa.
10-inch penis. My bad. Sorry.
Which, like, definitely not safe for work right there, but I always kind of thought that was funny. Like, I'm sure there was some meeting with a studio executive one day. It's like, so we're dropping Tip. We're not calling you that anymore. We can't have that, on the cover of albums and everything when you're trying to make it big. But T.I.'s not a very big guy.
No, not at all.
So, like, I remember I was like, 16, 17 years. I was like, oh, okay. All right, T.I.
The funniest part too is what I found, because I remember you saying that, but I also saw that another part that he didn't keep Tip was because he had a huge influence from Q-Tip, the rapper, who's
I never heard that.
Everybody is. I mean, if you're a diehard rap fan, you know who Q-Tip is, but Q-Tip's not mainstream, well known.
Okay,
but he's kind of like a T.I. Honestly, if you really look at it, like I could consider, like, T.I., Diddy, all them guys who, not necessarily I remember with some of their songs or whatever, but more of, like, they're very well respected in their rap community, and they're all like, when you see T.I.'s dressed up and like very smart and CEO of all these, like, he for a reason, like, and people of like the Jay-Z's and stuff, they respect him for a reason, and that's why you got to respect it almost as a fan, because if you look over that, like a lot of people are nowadays, like, you're gonna get lost and you're gonna forget who he is. But but to go into it, it's T.I.vsT.Tip. He's trying to fight this whole album due to his friend getting shot, due to him more fame, people trying to use him more. It's like it's the battle between him trying to be more successful and become the CEOs and stuff that we see him now, versus the streets trying to bring him back, which is him calling himself Tip again, in which we hear in the very first act. It's the first song. It's called Act 1, which is part 1 of 3.
So can we talk about that? Like the duality he's trying to go with now? He's definitely not the first rapper to ever have like.
I'm happy to talk about it because I wanted to. Because re-listening to this, sorry to go with this for a second, but
go ahead.
I'm happy you brought this up because this was one of my driving points. Listening to this album was like, dude, you don't realize like how much influence he gets from other people. Like, did you not get the Eminem versus Slim Shady vibes the entire time?
Absolutely.
Like he has Eminem on this.
He's not the first artist to ever do that. I mean, I do really appreciate the concept of the album. So it's broken down for those who haven't listened to or haven't maybe listened to in a while. It's 3 acts.
Yep.
Now, this is my question was the way they did this. I realized this going back. I never put this together. So the album's called T.I.vsT.I.P.
Yep.
Act 1, the first 7 songs.
Yeah.
Is T.I.P.
Yep.
Act 2.
Yeah.
Act 2, the next 7 songs is T.I.
Yep.
And in Act 3, they clash. And it's T.I.vsT.I.P. I feel like they should have flipped that, right?
I think they did that on purpose, honestly.
But I was kind of thinking, but it's not like the first 7 songs. It's
a little odd
rapping.
It's a little odd too because I was sitting there because I realized that too. And another thing that was really cool, fun fact, if people don't really realize, because it took me now to because I've listened to this album many of times throughout the years, but to re-listen to it now, I finally put it together. Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. Are all the same beat. They're all it's all over the same instrumental. So I didn't know if you picked up on that.
I did.
But I'm just saying, I think that was cool. But like, if you look into it, like to go what you said, like it should be flipped. I kind of thought that they kind of mixed up some songs. Not to nitpick too much, because I'm not hating, but like for Tip, the first part of it, he's got the Dope Man on there, which is kind of him talking. Like you hear the intro, he's talking to his friend, telling him like, "Hey man, you gotta put that down." Like
it's like a guidebook on how to be a successful drug hustler.
But it's almost being too smart about it, and I almost thought that was more of like a T.I. thing. Like I didn't think it was like Tip would be almost dumber. You know, like more like not dumb about it. But
I see
like
what you're
a little
saying.
more like just ignorant to it. Like I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of thought like I thought that was kind of a mix in there.
Okay.
And then the T.I. one, he had oh man, I forget. I think it was My Swag or something. Like it had a couple references where I was like, I could have been a Tip, but still, I know what you're saying. Like it could have been flipped or like because this album's not perfect. No album is perfect. Like I don't think we've done a single album that is perfect. But this album was definitely not perfect in that aspect either. Of where I thought the alignment of the songs were perfect, or like what you were saying, like the story of it. But who am I to tell T.I. what the hell?
I had read somewhere that he had like 60 songs or something. So
it makes sense.
So let's back up. I going back and listening to this, I'm like listening to the songs and think, oh man, like maybe it's a song you haven't heard in a couple years. And
that was for sure. It hit me a lot on this.
Yeah, and I'm going back. I was like, wait a minute. T.I. had a 3-album stretch, which I would argue is like the absolute his peak of his powers. We always say. 2006, he had King.
Yep.
I remember that came out like right as I graduated high school. So that was in my car. That was with my subwoofers all the time. 2007, he has T.I.vsT.I.P. 2008, he has Paper Trail.
Yeah.
That's a 3-album stretch in 3 consecutive years. That's a pretty strong stretch. And I would argue his best 3-album stretch of his career.
If you really look at it, because this is going to get back into it too, because not to hate on this album at all, but I think you could probably agree.
We definitely could have done.
Critics. Well, no. The critics on this album were kind of harsh. Like half of the critics loved it, and then half of the critics are like, "Hey, man, you've been doing nothing but making music for the last 5 years. Like nothing but just making music."
Yeah.
And so it's like the people are like, finally, you're falling off a little bit. Because if you really look at it, he had his first mixtape album type thing in 01, and then he didn't do anything till 03, but he came out with trap music, and then dropped 2 mixtapes after trap music in 03. And then in 04 has Urban Legend. But then 05, that's kind of what takes him. Because you can almost, if 05, if he didn't come out with the 2 mixtapes he came out with, you could honestly say it's a 4 album, in a row that like he's just
Urban Legend was the first T.I. album I ever bought.
It was phenomenal. I loved it, honestly. I'd love to re-listen to it and really see how much I love it, but from what I can remember,
if I had to go back and rank the T.I., I still think King, like from top to bottom, but it goes back to what we talked about too.
It's tough, yeah.
It goes back. I think part of it is, like I said, it was my senior year of high school. And that that summer you graduate high school is always an exciting time in your life. I was fortunate enough to have it.
Yeah.
So like those are memories that have a lot of sentimental value to me.
Oh, 100%.
And I remember
100%.
listening to that album over and over and over again. So maybe my what's the word that's so big right now? I'm losing that. Everyone's going back and doing all the '90s stuff. What's that word I'm thinking of?
Throwback, or I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm
you're tapping into people's. I'm drawing a blank here.
I'm sorry. I don't
no.
know
I'm drawing a blank. I'm drawing a blank. But maybe I'm remembering it better than it actually was, just because of the circumstances when I was first introduced to it.
I got you.
But all that being said, this is a very solid album.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm happy we re-listened to it, because honestly, this album is better than I remembered it, to be fair, because like, there are a couple songs on here that are a classic that we will dive into and give it its due, but yeah, there are, I can't lie, there were a couple that, did miss a little bit in my opinion, not because, I mean,
I would agree.
Like we're talking about, dude, like we just named off, no artist is doing that, like that's, like, how hard it is to even make one good album or mixtape, let alone one good song, let alone 6 years of just nothing but consistency and not falling off. So it's like, in this album, it was tough too, because like out of the ones, because it's tough, because like when I'm doing, we did Get Rich or Die Trying, Good Kid, Mad City was on here, we're doing like all these amazing albums, which is like, it's kill or be killed out here when you're doing these albums, so it's tough to compare them as much, because I kind of feel bad, because this is one of those albums where I felt like, in my opinion, that T.I. kind of almost ran out of things to like jot down and say and like really be meaningful on. Like, you hear a couple songs where he does have some great lyrics, great art, like I think certain artists that we will talk about bring him like up a notch, and I really loved it. But I felt like a lot of these songs were repetitive. Like, it was a lot of like, one of those old, like...
I would agree with that.
The old radio hits where you're trying to have, like, the hook, like, 4 or 5 times. Like, he does that a couple times, like, the dope man. And then he does it everywhere. Like, respect the hustle, my type, my swag.
Maybe not his most... Maybe not his absolute best effort. And they're, like... I'm sitting here listening to some of the lyrics sometimes, like, oh, another song about all the money you have and the G4 and the... and, like...
Well, let's go...
And hooking up with women and things like that. It's like, oh... Okay.
I'm happy that we're here though, because this kind of can show you how crazy life could probably spread you when you're getting that famous and stuff. Like, when we're getting older and just dealing with other responsibilities that we have, when we're not even close to being famous, like nowhere close, like we get stressed out and like spread thin, And like, I couldn't imagine being T.I. You just lost one of your best friends, just got shot while you're recording this album. You've come out so hot with the last 5 years. You're trying to just keep that going and just keep becoming the man. You're bound to slip. And then another thing that I found on this album, which kind of blew my mind, is I'm always big on who's the producers, who's whatever. Yeah. And the executive producers, clearly is T.I. and Jason Getter or Geeter. I don't know how to say it. But then the rest, he literally has 22 more people that are on here that are literally producers, and that's it's a little too much, because you said 60s. Yeah, easily. Yeah, that's my thing. I think he got just caught up in the world, and I think it would be tough to keep making hits.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not, because I remember, and that's absolutely a huge part of putting a quality hip hop album together. Is you've got to have some good producers on there, but at the same time though, it's like, well, we got to get one from this guy, and then next thing you know, like the sound of the album is maybe out of your hands,
just everywhere, more,
And or maybe, hey, I just got this great beat, I just paid $100,000 for, God knows how much they pay for it, that I'm just gonna put a song to, when maybe that song or this beat doesn't quite fit the tone of the album.
Facts.
So yeah, I could definitely, because I know King, the album right before this in 2006, was a great album, and I think had a lot of success. So you could tell he was definitely, hey, I want to get back in the lab on that.
Well, here's where I'm happy you bring that up too, because this album, T.I.vsT.I.P, is the first album that he gets away from his DJ Toomp that he always had with him. Yep. So this is hearing the first time he's trying to find his own sound that doesn't have the same producer. And then just some of the producers that I can name off, like Cannon Caviar Cross, that was one of the main guys. He did like 3 songs. Just Blaze, Manny Fresh, Lil C, Wyclef Jean, Timbaland, and Eminem. Just like, that's an album right there, just from that many like produce. Like, that's all them songs. That's an album. The Runners, today. 8 songs, 9 songs now. Yeah, like that's literally an album that you would see today. And but that's all that's one act almost. You know what I'm saying, in this album. So it would be tough. And I don't want to sound like we're hating it all. So let's
no.
Let's get
crazy.
I
thought of that word. Nostalgia.
Oh, okay.
Nostalgia was the word I was saying. I was going to drive me nuts at it. So I had the nostalgia of the first time you listened to these albums.
Okay, that's awesome.
All right, let's dive into it.
Let's get it crazy then. So before we get crazy into the awards and really give the songs that we want to talk about the love, I will say this about the album. Songs that we might not talk about or aspects we might not talk about the rest of the way through, I just want to get out of the way now. This album, for as many producers and as wherever it's at all over the place, somewhat on the map, I do think that this album is better to listen to all the way through, because you can almost because the acts and stuff you're going to be more in tune with instead of just skipping if it's shuffle, because you're not in order. And then it gives you, the acts are really good about making the next song better, other than Big Shit Poppin' clearly being amazing. Help Is Coming is the one that follows act 2. That song, if that's on shuffle, speaking of him, he thinks that he's saving the rap game and everything, because that's always the topic everywhere in rap, no matter what year it is. It's falling apart.
Dying,
let's fix it. Yeah. Even though if you really look at it, 07 might have been the end of the prime of rap, in my opinion. Maybe up, because J. Cole and Kendrick are carrying it better and stuff, but as a total, it's getting awful. But because clearly the 90s starts the prime, in my opinion. Some people would say late 80s, but
Jay-Z had retired.
Facts.
Right?
Yeah.
Eminem was going through some drug stuff that I'm sure we're going to talk about here in his feature. I don't think Kendrick and J. Cole had come into what they would become yet.
Nowhere close.
Drake's not really on the scene yet.
J. Cole dropped his first mixtape, I think, in 09. So he's still 2 years away.
Yeah, so he's not
I think
there
Cudi.
yet.
I think Cudi just dropped in 09. He dropped in 09, but he had a mixtape in 07. So still, people aren't even coming yet. But but if you listen to this song on this album on shuffle, there's a lot of songs you're skipping. In my opinion, I don't know about you, but
no, I would agree.
Are there any songs that you want to give love to at all that we're not gonna
before we even get into the categories? So I will. I mean, I will say I think I have a different song for every category.
Oh no, I do too. I do too.
There's not we did the Get Rich or Die Trying. There's some iconic songs on that.
It's so tough.
I don't think there's really an iconic song in this album. There's some really solid ones.
I think there's one. To be fair, I think there's one.
Okay.
But to us personally, I think there's 3. Or in my opinion, maybe 3 for me, maybe 2 for you. I don't know.
I guess I'll put it this way. I don't know if there's an A or A+ song on this album, but I also don't know if there's a D song on this album. I think there's some really solid Bs, some solid C songs.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Maybe a D+. Maybe a D+.
But to me, you think of I don't know if there's any song on this album that you'd say is a top 3, top 5 T.I. song.
Close. Maybe one.
We'll get
maybe
into
one.
it.
Maybe one.
We'll get into
and
it.
That's just almost a broad view of it. But so we'll get into the awards now. Let's just fucking dive in, dude.
Let's do it.
And I'll let you pick. You're the guest.
All right. Let's go.
All right, real quick though. Can we save the Andre 3K for last and most relistenable for last? Can we save those two?
Yep.
Okay. And the rest you just pick.
All right, I got you.
We'll have fun with.
All right. So you want to go? You want me to pick?
Yeah, we'll start first category. Kind of explain it.
Okay.
And if you're struggling with it,
the Jamal Crawford Award,
Sixth Man
of the Year. Jamal Crawford, perennial Sixth Man of the Year in the NBA. So you have your track list, you have the album you listen to, you have your top 5. This is that number 6 song that could very easily just slide in with your top 5, and you wouldn't skip a beat. You wouldn't miss anything.
Oh, LeBron's sitting. We're throwing KD in. You're still probably not bitching. Oh, Jordan's out. Oh. Yeah. Kobe's coming in. Oh, same player. You know, you're not mad. You're not mad.
All right, so for me, you mentioned it already. It was The Dope Man.
Well, I'm not mad at that.
I think
I'm not mad at it.
When I first listened to that song, I was kind of another song about slang and drugs, whatever. But then I went back and listened to it again. I was like, wait a minute, the concept of the song is actually way different than how I remember it.
Yeah.
He's got, a youngin' on the corner that walks up to his car and sees he's doing well for himself, sees his car, asking for a ride. He's like, you know what? I'll give you a ride, but I see what you're out here trying to do. You're trying to hustle. I'm going to show you how to do it, and kind of gives him the blueprint of. Yeah. I mean, it's you could literally write down the lyrics and
probably become a drug dealer.
Yeah, probably
if
you really wanted to. So the concept of that was a little, I kind of like that song more than I remembered liking that song. So that would be my Jamal Crawford, The Dope Man.
My honestly, which it wouldn't have been there before, but I think Act 1 T.I.P. I think just the way it's brought in, because I bring it up every damn pod that we've done yet. I'm such a sucker for the intro. It just sets the tone. It sets the tone.
They're it sounds like he's flipping through TV channels.
Yeah, it's going through the news.
Yeah.
All the stuff going through Atlanta. and then it slowly starts, progressing into talking about T.I.
Yeah.
Talking about it, I think he lost his friend getting shot, and then it's talking about some drugs or whatever, and then it talks about his last lines talking about this report, all the eyes are on T.I. becoming an actor, and it's kind of him coming back
because ATL came out in 06, and I think that was that his acting debut.
Yeah, what an acting debut.
You know what else? You know what else he was in this year that I forgot until I read this and until I started doing a little bit of research. He was in American Gangster, and he has a line about Frank Lucas in this album.
Yeah, I heard that. I can't.
He was in American Gangster. That came out in 07.
Damn, I didn't.
He had a small part in it. He was part of Denzel's family, Frank Lucas's family, but
that's huge.
I remember seeing going to the theater and watching American Gangster. I know T.I.'s in it. What scene is it? What scene is it? And he has a scene with Denzel.
It's probably like 2 seconds.
I mean, it's not that long of a scene,
but it's still cool.
It still was pretty cool to see, one of your favorite rappers and Denzel Washington on the screen together.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so no, I picked Act 1, T.I.P.
Okay.
It's introducing T.I.P. back.
Okay,
it's the first time you hear T.I.P. back.
Yep.
Since early days for him at least.
Yeah.
He's been rapping like that for a while on the albums, but yeah. So that's our 6 man. I love that. I love both of them. Honestly, can't go wrong with either.
What do you got next?
Let me get this one out of the way because this one I almost thought about telling you that maybe we could probably do without, just because it's a little tougher of an album to kind of find that the way I look at it. But the Jamie Foxx Award, which would be the most versatile. If you think of Jamie Foxx, some people in the early days would think of him as a comedian. Some people would think of him as a singer. Some even, whatever, an actor or whatever. But he's on everything. You look around, First Take, he's in there with Stephen A.
Incredibly talented.
Dogging him.
Incredibly talented.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah, he can do it all.
He's really good. His improv game is impossible.
He's right there with Will Smith.
Yeah. So it's almost like what song do you like? Honestly, T.I. can almost fall as this album or as that award too, because he's pretty versatile as well.
Yeah.
But when it comes to music, it's like what song were you like, wow, I forgot that he was a comedian. I forgot he can act. I forgot he could sing. I forgot, it's almost what song in almost any mood that you're in, what song would almost fit here. And it's a little tougher for this album. I'm not gonna lie to you. Usually it works out better. Like when we do Good Kid, Mad City, Give or Should I Try, and there are songs that make sense. But this one, I don't know if you have. Honestly, I was close to with Show It To Me with Nelly because I completely forgot Nelly was on this album, and I actually was not mad at Nelly's part. But
I have some. I'll be getting to that song. My opinions on that song.
And then so I ended up going. You Know What It Is, and with
Wyclef.
Yeah, and if I can take my time real quick on that song, I forgot how amazing of a song that is. Like seriously, I don't know if you love it all like that, but dude, that song, I think it's the beat. It just gets you going, and then I don't know. I know it's more of a poppy song for him, but it is actually pretty good. And if you're not a fan of Wyclef Jean or Jean, whatever you want to say, because he always says it weird, he is barely in the song. You can barely tell he's in there. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I honestly love that song. I feel like if I'm upset, it's gonna get me happy. If I'm happy, I'm already probably gonna get happier. It's one of those songs. It changes my mood because I actually like the song, and it's probably the only song that's that versatile that can change my mood.
I love this answer. And I had the exact same song.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So we talked about, my reasoning is similar to yours, but so we talked about the tone of T.I., we talked about what genre of music he is. Definitely down south, trap music type rapper. What I liked about this song, I've never been a huge Wyclef Jean fan, but
he's very respected. He is very respected.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
His 90s work was really good. Yeah. But he ends up becoming more popular.
So and that Dirty South sound.
Yeah.
This song is completely different. It's the Dirty South meets Haiti.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wyclef Jean's from Haiti, so you kind of have that,
whatever you want to say,
that sound of the Caribbean a little bit.
Yeah.
Bumble clot.
Seriously. And then,
booka, But that's why I think to me it's the most versatile because it kind of blends those two cultures together. The song itself, it's kind of like a bubbly, upbeat song. It's not too deep or anything like that. But
I had a way different sound in my head when I originally remember this song because I actually loved this song when it first came out. When I first heard it, I was like, okay, get you going. And when you're a kid, you don't really listen to shit. The beat's amazing. Yeah. And then honestly, like you said, I love the flow and everything. Honestly,
but see, the last time I really, and I would say the first time I ever listened to this album, it's I never picked up on that. Oh wait, this is a completely different sound because Wyclef Jean's in it. It's got that influence. He's from Haiti. It definitely sounds like a song like if you went to a bar or something in Haiti, you would hear this song.
I 100% agree. 100%
I don't know if you're ever going to hear that song at a nightclub here in the States. You might, but I think you're more likely to hear that song like down the Caribbean somewhere. So
yeah, I love. Hey, I love how we both. Yeah,
I love that.
Okay. Hey, it must mean something if we both said that. That's the answer.
Okay.
Out of this album, so
yep. So is it my turn?
Yeah.
All right. So that was the Jamie Foxx for Most Versatile. Okay, and help me out if I don't explain this right. So the LeBron James MVP award.
Yep.
So it's pretty much that LeBron every single year is great, and you could make the argument he should win the MVP every single year. Well, maybe not at this stage of his career.
Not now,
but there was like a 10-year stretch there where every single year he had a solid argument to win the MVP.
100%.
But people just kind of like get tired of it. They like the new narrative. They want to give it to someone else. So like, what is the most solid song that just kind of gets overlooked a little bit, right?
Yeah, like what's the true MVP? Like there was like a 5-year, 6-year stretch there where Kobe was like the best player in the league easily, but somehow Steve Nash gets MVPs, which can be argued all day, every day. But we all know Kobe's that man, bounces him in round one. Like he's truly that. Like let's look back. You could say even like the Reggie Bush got the Heisman, even though Vince Young blows him out. Those type things.
Right.
Like it's like who's truly good. Like okay, Russell Westbrook averaged a triple double, but LeBron wins the championship.
It's kind of like
we know who the MVP is.
It's kind of like you win the regular season MVP. I mean, we're kind of see how quickly we go off to basketball.
Facts. It's just
but like you win your regular season MVP, but wouldn't you kind of almost rather have the NBA Finals?
Yeah, we all know what matters. Yeah, so that's it. What's the best song to you that deserves MVP every single time? Maybe like without this song, this album isn't on here. This album isn't a relistable album. So like, what song?
So it's a song that like I
think it should be one song.
It is one song.
It should be. Well, no, I'm saying it should just like. Everybody should just pick one song. Like it should be that same song. Everybody should pick it, in my opinion.
So, for me, it's a song that like I don't even know if you would say is like a top 15 most recognizable T.I. song. I think I love the title. I kind of love the content and what he's talking about in the song. He's calling people out. It's in Act 3, which is probably my favorite section of the album.
Okay.
Tell him I said that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my pick.
Tell him what I said. I think it was Tell him what I said. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. You threw me off there. I love that song. I do love that song. But
he's pretty much saying like I'm calling out these other rappers, and you can tell them I said that.
Yeah. Let them know.
Like
play them.
Don't turn this into like a he said she said. Like I'll say it to their face.
That is the cool thing.
I just like kind of the attitude of that too.
T.I.'s persona was always that. Like, hey, I'm not a player. Like, what's up, partner? Like
I'll tell it to your face.
He says it every single time. Like I'm just keeping it real.
Yep.
Yeah, I do like that answer. Wow, you threw me through a loop, dude. I thought honestly, I think it was one answer for me. I
think I know what you're going to say.
It's the first single. It's probably easily the best song in this album, unless you're a diehard Eminem fan like us. But I think it's Big Shit Poppin'. I think it's first single. I think because it's the number one song that gets the most downloads, gets the most love from this album. Like I said, first single, but. I think this is the only song on this album that can be considered in its top 5 T.I. songs.
I would agree.
Personally.
I would agree.
Because you were saying earlier this isn't a top 3 or top 5 T.I. song. This would be the only argument, in my opinion. Like, Big Shit Poppin' was, like, not only is it, like, I kind of consider it like Good Kid, Mad City's Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe type thing. It's not like he's saying much. He's really upfront, just like Big Shit Poppin'. Like, I'm the shit, motherfucker. Like, what's up? You know, like, and it gets you confident. Like it's almost like how little he does say in the song goes further than if he would have just kept speaking the same shit that he was saying.
And it had a great beat. And
the beat was phenomenal.
And it had the commercial success. It was mainstream. I think for the radio edits, it was like Big Things Poppin' is what. And I remember like,
and that song's still good for an radio edit.
Yeah, they did a. I remember them doing like cross promotional stuff with like ESPN. They'd play it on SportsCenter and things like that during highlights. All the time. And like for games and things like that. So that's a great song.
The instrumental. Song. Well, and too, like if you really think of it, if you're re-listening to this album, Act 1, T.I.P, okay, you're like, okay, this kind of gets me. It's a 2-minute, 20-second little like intro / right into that like song. He's kind of going right, and then that song.
Yep.
You're instantly like, oh my God, T.I. did it again. Could you imagine like when you're first re-listening to this and say you're like the whoever, you're just like the top radio like personalities or whatever, like you're about to interview these guys, like this is the first, like you're a critic or whatever, this is the first song you hear after the intro, you're like, oh my god, T.I. did it again.
I feel like T.I. did it again. I like the choice to put it the second track, essentially the first real song on the album. Facts. You don't see many artists do that right off the bat. It's usually a little more towards the middle, maybe like track 4 or 5.
I will say, Southern rappers tend to do that, though, because I've always noticed with Rick Ross. Rick Ross always used to do it. Like, I know it's Florida or whatever, but it's still South, like, even more South, technically. But he always used to put, like, if you re-listen to it, because I want to do a couple of his, but, like, God Forgives, I Won't, like all these other ones, like we can go on forever, but on his albums, but it's not a Rick Ross, but like he does the same thing. Okay. All them Southern rappers, Big Crit used to do it. Yeah. That second track was always good, and then like 16 was always good, because out of like 18, it would always be like I remember it for some reason always being that, but yeah, that's my opinion on the LBJ MVP award. I felt like without that song, you can honestly say we're not even sitting here re-listening to this album. Like, honestly, because I don't think it has the commercial success that it did get. Because let's not forget, man, for its first sales week or whatever.
Almost 500,000.
Yeah, 470,000. Yeah. Which, to put in perspective, Good Kid, Mad City in 2012, first week, and this is before, like, Apple Music and stuff. Yeah. 242,000. Yep. Like, he blows out of the water.
Yep.
But I did Get Rich or Die Trying. That shit did 872,000 units in the first week. Like...
And this was back when people actually bought CDs.
Well, and to keep, like, because you used to buy CDs in 07, like you were about to say.
Oh, yeah.
This, in 07, Kanye drops Graduation, Jay-Z drops American Gangster, and UGK drops Underground Kings.
Yep.
And then Common even has an album, which I think it's Finding Forever. Yeah, whatever, I don't know. But Graduation does 957,000 units, and then American Gangster does 425,000. So T.I. outsold him on this album.
Like, and Graduation
first week,
didn't Graduation win the Grammy for Best Rap Album this year?
And then beats him.
T.I.vsT.I.P was up for a Grammy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So, he did, but he did win Favorite Rap Album at the American Music Awards. Okay. That same year. So he kind of made up for it, but no, the Grammy was more important. But yeah, I don't think that this song, I don't think his album's even getting 350,000 buys if it's not with that first single, because that's what everybody used to go off of.
He won a Grammy for Big Shit Poppin' too, best solo
that's
performance.
What I'm saying. So yeah, I think that's my opinion on the album. That's my answers can be 15 seconds. I take 5 minutes.
No,
it's the Ryan Russillo effect in me. I'm sorry, but alrighty. So we did what? Jamal Crawford.
Yep.
Jamie Foxx and LBJ.
Yep. It's your turn.
All right. I'm gonna do this one now just to get it out of the way.
Yep.
Because I can go so many different ways with this one, and I'll respect any answer.
Okay.
This one's usually harder. So the Jackson 4 Award, which I usually like to kind of introduce it anyway because I know it's tough. So in my eyes, you got the Jackson 5, Michael Jackson's in there, lead singer, ABC, 1, 2, 3, still amazing, amazing, making great hits in your living room every day. But Michael Jackson goes on to be the number one artist maybe of all time. It's arguable. He's top 3. That's almost not even arguable. But you didn't need the Jackson 4. Honestly, if you look at it, like Michael Jackson's still going to be the man regardless. The Jackson 4 kind of fell off. So if you look at this album like it's Michael Jackson, it's like it's whatever. Like what songs would not be on here? What songs could be Jackson 4? Like without these, you're still going to have a great hit. So like what's your nitpicks? What song can you do without? And my answer here, honestly, I wanted to kind of run some things by you. Because I wanted to talk about this.
Okay.
Are you mad at T.I. at all? Because, me, personally, I listened to the 20-song album, which is the deluxe version, which had the 2 bonus tracks, The Hottest and No Sweat, which honestly are pretty good, but I'm not going to probably give them any awards, but they are pretty good. If you guys want to listen to them, they're pretty good. But take those out, and you got the 18-track song, or even put them in, so you got 20 tracks. Tell me he knocked down 5 songs on this album. You can pick the 5. You're telling me it's not a better album. Maybe even 6 songs take away there. And have a 14-song album with your 14 favorite songs in here with the act still. You're telling me it's not a better album?
I think it could be, yeah.
I would agree. Like, not to be mean here.
No.
I wrote these down. I think, just for me personally, these are songs that I can easily do without. Like, I know they have some meaning to the album, but they all kind of sound the same to me. You could take Raw out. You could take... Watch What You Say to Me. I love Jay-Z though. I don't want to take him out. I'm lying.
I have some opinions on
that one. I'm lying on that.
But I don't like about that song real quick.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But I don't like T.I.'s first part in it. Jay-Z kind of comes in and does well. Like he does okay. It wasn't my favorite verse of Jay-Z ever, but he actually did do good compared to like later 2000s, like later 2010s. Like he kind of really sucked on some songs. But
actually, we'll get to that. We'll get to that with another category.
But then T.I. does kind of do good on the second half of that song, but it definitely did not come to the full way. But My Swag was not good to me. We Do This wasn't that good. If it honestly wasn't for Nelly and Show It To Me, just kind of like a nostalgia thing, like you were saying, I wouldn't even want that on there. Don't You Want to Be High, I wasn't even a big fan of. And then that's at least 5 right there that I named that I honestly think you could probably get rid of. And then Respect the Hustle, I didn't like either. So that's 6 songs for me. I could have a 14-track album and I love it. Way more than. So that's just me. Like, it's songs that I'm easily skipping. That
but
I'm not
isn't it
to.
kind of funny? Like, and the last one I did with you was Get Rich or Die Trying, which is one of those rare albums where you're probably not skipping any songs.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Like, what a good album nowadays. I think if you have like 4 or 5 really solid songs, I think it's a good album.
Yeah, for nowadays, hell yeah.
I mean, like, you're not. There's going to be albums.
I'm happy we did this album because this is the first album that we've actually had this be a thing where it's like, wow, there's more than just one song that I'm like, wow, yeah, easily I'm not listening
there's
to.
Definitely, you could trim some of the fat. Like,
because usually I'm like, you don't have to trim fat, but like if you had to, this is the song.
You talked about, like, there's that stretch, and Act 2 really is there's really like maybe 1.5 songs there I like. So
I agree.
You go, Help Is Coming.
Which was only good if you listen to the Act 2.
Okay.
If you listen to Act 2 and it gets you into there, it's the only reason you listen to that song. That was
My
Swag,
my
note on there.
My Swag, another feature of Wyclef Jean. Okay. We Do This. I like the beat of that. The Runners, I like the beat.
Yeah,
maybe more like than the song and the content itself. I think it's good to re-listen to. Show It To Me. I'm going to get back to that in a second. Don't You Want to Be High and Touchdown. I don't know, like, if you got this vibe, but they both kind of seem like they're talking about flying on a plane and like living this luxurious lifestyle.
I swear, every rap album has that. Like, if Jay-Z's involved with a rap album,
there's got to be at least
there's an airplane noise coming in, landing,
and there's gonna be at least 5 minutes of the album where they're admiring and praising their plane.
Yeah, 100%.
And the G4 that they just got.
100%.
Which, again, going back to, like, I can't sit here and say if I had a G4 that I probably wouldn't feel a similar way, but
I would have found a way to pull up to your house in a G4 somehow, and I'm only 8 minutes away in a drive. Like, that's how I'd have been acting.
But to me, I feel like that theme there was a little redundant. So, my Jackson 4 answer was Show It To Me featuring Nelly. I went back to the song. I was like, oh, yeah, Nelly was on here. And Nelly's one of those artists I've always kind of been like, definitely more poppy.
Yeah, radio hit.
Definitely poppy. Made his money, that's for sure. I went back and like listened to some of the lyrics and like especially like some of the stuff that Nelly says. It's just corny.
Corny as fuck. I'll give you that.
Some of the lines
I'll give you that.
are just corny. Like
I didn't even know
like
he was
on one second, I'm like, okay, they're gonna kind of go for like cheesy, poppy, corny song that can be on the radio. But then they start getting like pretty sexual with it. I was like, okay, they're not really going for the radio.
Too southern.
Yeah,
real southern.
And I was like, this, and it's like, okay, the scene is you're at a strip club essentially, or you're getting a private lap dance or whatever it is. You got a girl back to the crib, and I just thought it was incredibly, especially Nelly's verse was rough. Can I go ahead? Keep talking. I'm gonna pull up Nelly's lyrics.
But did you think that Nelly? Because I noticed this as a little trend in the album, especially in the album. I'd have to go back and re-listen to his entire career to probably see if it's true. But in this album, it's a real heavy like you see Busta Rhymes on there, you see Jay-Z on there, you see like it's got some heavy hitters, but like T.I. changes his flow to whoever is in there. Like he goes awful the first part with Jay-Z's on the song or whatever, and then once Jay-Z goes and he comes back in with a second verse, which I'm guessing he threw it in after hearing Jay-Z's. He was probably like he almost rapped a little more like Jay-Z, and then he tried to go a little hard on Hurt when Busta Rhymes was on there going hard like real fast, and then he kind of goes a little like we said like Haitian or whatever. When he had Wyclef Jean on there. Nelly, he almost turns more into like a singer to like too southern, like tried to sound like Nelly. And then even with Eminem, he changes his voice, tried to be a little more like Eminem. So I just felt like there was a lot of he takes too much influence. Not to tell him what the fuck to do, because he's way better than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, but my nitpick is to be like, I feel like he should have stayed more himself instead of trying to match other people's flows.
I see what you're saying.
That's why that Nelly song doesn't work at all. He tried to switch.
Can I read you one of the...
Please do.
Okay. This is a section of... I was like, man, I didn't remember it being this bad.
Especially the way he says it, too. But anyway, not to be mean.
Come on in, little mama. Sit down. Pay attention. You don't want to get to school and take your ass to detention. Stick my key in your ignition. I'm cranking up your engine. I'm pulling your extensions. Now we switching up positions. Got a little technique and making your knees weak.
It's like third grader.
This is when I was like, okay, this is going off the rails. A nonstop treat until your G-spot leak to your G4 seat. We'll be back next week. So tell that lame-ass ninja you got places to be. So give me your participation. Don't need no hesitation. Don't want to be mistaken, ma. I'm planning on relations. Yeah, you rolling with the king and the one. Country ninjas in the Chevy passing Grey Poupon. Grey Poupon?
I feel like he took the money for this verse and then wrote it last second. Like, oh fuck, I'm with him right now. I got to do this. Like, let me get my third grade writer.
Like that's those were lyrics on a Grammy nominated album that went platinum.
Which
like
got
that I'm sure Nelly got, you know.
We can make that. We can make that
money for.
We can make that segment a whole relistenable, like an 18-track thing of like best, like worst songs, worst features on the best albums. Because like Lil Wayne has a shit ton of just.
Some of the stuff Lil Wayne says.
Lil Wayne in himself, but like some of his people from IMCB, like he had like Lil B on one of his. Oh, it was terrible. But all right. So do we have any other nitpick at all? I think that was our Jackson 4. I just picked Jackson 4. You pick the next category.
All right, so next category. Let's go with J-Lo.
My lady.
So the J-Lo Award, Jennifer Lopez, one of the most beautiful women to ever. I almost said it. I seriously almost said it right there. I almost said it.
She just didn't age as good as J-Lo, sadly.
Yeah, it's one of the most beautiful women to ever walk the planet. That ages like a fine wine. It seems like every year she just gets a little more beautiful. So what song over time has just you still listen to? I mean, this album came out over 14 years ago now, and you're like, yeah, I can't skip this song. For me, do you want to go first?
No. I want to hear.
For me, it was an answer you already had. It's Big Shit Poppin'. Like I hear it, I still like get amped. I'm like, okay, I'm hyped.
The main reason, because it easily could be anybody's pick. The only reason it's not is because if I do listen to T.I. songs, this is easily a top 5 T.I. song to me that gets me hyped. That I'm in the gym, like working out.
Yeah.
Because I have this.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
I mean, you play basketball with me all the time, so like, I guess not all the time, but you play basketball, and I bring my speaker all the time, the JBL Charge 4 or whatever. Like I always make sure it's bumping in there. And throughout the years, I've made a Hooper's Paradise. It's called Hooper's Paradise on Apple Music if you guys want to jam. But it's a playlist. It's probably got like 300 songs on it. Like it just put it on shuffle when we're playing, and it's all songs that people love and shit. But the only T.I. songs on there, like that one's on there, and that came on actually last night when we were playing, and I was real happy because I was like, wow, I'm happy because we're doing this today.
Yeah.
So but to be true and honest, which I'm gonna come up with another one, but to be true with you, it's you know what it is, because I just forgot how amazing of a song it was. But I always knew it was good. I just forgot how good it was. So I don't want to name it that though, even though it could easily win. It's one of your answers actually is Tell 'Em What I Said. I love that song. Because it's one of those songs that I easily skip through like when I used to listen to albums, because I wasn't I love T.I., but T.I. is not the artist that you're going to listen to every single song he ever makes like we do with some of our artists like Eminem, where anything he drops we're listening to. Like it could be trash, but we're still going to give it a chance. Like T.I. is just not that artist. Like he's, no offense, like I love the guy to death. Like he's a great artist. We'll do more albums of him that are amazing, but especially this album, it's one of those ones. I just have 7 songs you could take off of that. Maybe 8 we named off that you could take off in the nitpicks, and it's going to be a better album. So. But he does still always have those songs in there that are amazing. But Tell 'Em What I Said, truly, for me to re-listen that in 2021, I couldn't tell you any of the lyrics that I, like back in the day, I couldn't have told you anything before today or tomorrow, like the last week that we listened to it. So that was the song that stuck out to me the most. Where I was I was like, sheesh, okay. And it was like you said earlier with your answer, it's more of a T.I. like, hey, I'm rapping. Like, it's back to me, just nobody else, no whatever, no feature, no nothing. I'm just rapping. I'm letting you know what it is. So, and it was one of the rare songs on this album that he had something to say. Sorry not to be mean.
No, he wasn't talking about the lifestyle and the material things as much.
Yeah, it was a bunch of time.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say. I don't want to say time wasting in this album, but it was a lot of like filler stuff that he's saying that he repeated a bunch of times in different ways.
Like we're talking about, the money, the fame, the women, the drugs.
But like we've talked about, broke down. I think it does go down with like 22 producers, dude. Like it's tough. Yeah, it's tough. Everybody else wants you to say certain things that you've already said.
Too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yep.
Too many chefs in the kitchen.
I agree.
Okay, that's a good answer. I like that. right, so it's your turn.
So that's our J-Lo award?
Yep.
Okay, so what do we got left? Dr. Dre. Let's get into it now.
Okay.
I'm going to get into it now.
Okay.
Scottie Pippen award.
Yep.
Best feature. For us, I think I don't know. I don't want to throw answers out there, but one of my favorite verses ever, which isn't even a great song, honestly, but Touchdown was really amazing. I've always loved Eminem. Mm-hmm. But re-listening to it now, I don't know what was going on in that 07 to 2010 range. I think it was just the whatever engineering and stuff Eminem had then just made his sound or maybe it was even the drugs he was doing, who knows, but
I think it
was more nasally, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's definitely that.
And I think he was messing with some maybe not voice changers or whatever, but he was messing with some he had I think it was just his engineering and stuff that all his producing stuff that he had. I think it might have been that way, but you really listen to it, the sound of it's not that good. To me anymore. Not to hate on Eminem. It's tough for me to hate on Eminem.
Pitch.
It's nasally. It's high pitch. It's it almost doesn't even sound like Eminem. But if it wasn't for Eminem on this album, I don't think you're gonna have great lyrics on this album. Just to be fair, Jay-Z kind of I like Jay-Z a little bit, but it wasn't Jay-Z's top verse ever. He murdered when he was on Diamond remix with Kanye. Not like that, but it was good. It just it was tough for me because I did like Busta Rhymes, but Busta Rhymes got to a point there where after he blew up in his 90s and had his day in the 80s, whatever, Busta got very repetitive. Even though he's rapping really fast and stuff, it's the same. Once you hear a Busta Rhymes verse in a feature post 05, it's all right, you've heard everyone. Yeah. So I'd have to go Eminem just to be fair to myself. So,
all right, before I get in my answer, I have some feelings about the features on this album. I remember the track list came out, and the first two names you notice, especially Jay-Z and Eminem, he's doing a song with Jay-Z and Eminem, and this was his first collaboration with Eminem, so I was oh my God, But you kind of mentioned it, that 05 to 09 range, 08 range, where we know M was going through some problems with addiction and drugs and whatnot. That like you said, it's not the Eminem that I know now. And I thought his verse was kind of goofy. Don't get me wrong, I still love the song.
Yeah, it is goofy, but
it's a little goofy. Just in general, so the song is about, and I'm not trying to nitpick. No, I'm not trying to tear down your pick.
I like hearing it though. I like hearing it.
So the song is about pretty much just hopping off planes, doing a show, everyone loves you, hopping on a plane, going to another city.
It's how lonely you can get.
Yeah. And I like the feature there. I just going back on I feel like I was a little under. I feel like it could have been a little bit more. The Jay-Z feature, I was really disappointed with. I feel like that song could have been so much better. I thought it was a little too laid back, a little too chill.
Because
just in general, I don't think the features are very strong on this album.
You know who honestly had the best sound, but just didn't do it? They repeated the same fucking rhyme 15 times. That Alpha Mega. In Hurt with Busta Rhymes, he probably had the best sound, best flow. Yeah. He just repeated the same rhyme 5 times in a row. That was your pick?
That was my pick, and it wasn't. It wasn't
beautiful pick though.
Hurt, Merc, put him in the dirt.
Yeah.
I thought the song was kind of catchy. I can't sit here and tell you I know Busta or Alpha Mega's verse off the top of my head, but I think I was just going back. So. The T.I. first song they did together, I was kind of a little disappointed. The Jay-Z verse, I was really disappointed in that collaboration. And it's really tough now, looking at this in hindsight, because I think Eminem and T.I., they did another song together, say That's All She Wrote.
Thank God I was going to bring it up.
One of my favorite songs. That probably a top 3 T.I. song for me.
That song
Love that song.
He goes so hard on that song.
Love that song. But... See, I have that now. If I didn't have that, and this was the only T.I.
Wow. See, I kind of put myself pre that. But yeah.
I tried not to, but it's so hard not to. When you listen to Touchdown, you're like, oh yeah, this was the first one, and this was so much worse than I thought.
How often do you listen to All She Wrote?
A lot.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Well, there's two different versions. There's 2 different versions of that song. M did 2 different versions of that song.
That's the greatest part.
So anyways, my pick, kind of a long answer there, would be Hurt. With Busta and Alpha Mega.
I actually like that bit.
Not so much because I thought it was this amazing feature or anything like that, but just because I was kind of disappointed. The Wyclef Jean song was good.
In 07, I'd believe, so to kind of put this in perspective, I think a lot of people like like you said, Eminem, Jay-Z, but I think a lot of people are like glued in on Nelly, which probably let down.
Oh, yeah,
because he was huge then. But
yeah, definitely.
Even Wyclef could have maybe got it, but yeah, there's just a real quick second on Jay-Z. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's not his album, but Jay-Z, he for me, I know everybody loves him and everything. Like, I wish I was born 10 years earlier just to be in the prime of the Jay-Z love. Mm-hmm. Because I, like, when you, like, in my eyes, I look back in rap, and I always put Diddy and Jay-Z in them, like, as just, if it wasn't for Biggie dying, like, I don't know, are they really going to be that special? You know, like, Jay-Z was the man. Don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from Jay-Z. But if you grow up in the 2000s, so I was born in the early 90s, but, like, you grow up in the 2000s, like, in the 2010s and stuff, like, Jay-Z's nothing but just letting you down on a lot of tracks. Like, I'm happy we did do Good Kid, Mad City, because his remix on Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, probably his best verse in 20 years that he featured.
And he's had some really good features on verses and whatnot.
Yeah, when he features, it's the worst you get out of him. But honestly, there's some albums to him to this day in the 2010s that I'm like, I don't even want to like that. The Magna Carta album
had a couple decent songs.
Justin Timberlake was fine on it, and like there was a couple features, but like,
what was it, the 444 album? I mean, that was
terrible in my opinion. I know it was like
it had like two
being vulnerable, like we talked about this, but I'm just not the biggest Jay-Z guy, and it's like it's just filled with nothing but letdown. Like, I do like Jay-Z. I love Jay-Z.
I'd say I'm probably a little bit bigger Jay-Z fan than you.
Oh, way more.
I think it's more like respect for his craft and what he's done and what he's accomplished. I think just like we talked about with 50 on the Get Rich or Die Trying album. I mean, I think it's so hard once you reach like the super duper stratosphere of success
I agree.
To have that hunger that makes your music great. Like Jay-Z doesn't have to hop on a track or produce a track for the next 3 lifetimes.
Yeah,
you know, and he'd be all right.
His family doesn't have to.
I think it's just more so respect for he has a very distinctive sound. And just how long he's been in the game.
Well, it's tough, too, because, like, if we're not breaking down this album, we're not even going to be sitting here dogging Jay-Z. I'm not even dogging him, but, like, it's tough when you're trying to be a critic of it. Yeah, and you're like, dude, I'm looking back, and, like, this 07's 13, 14 years ago now, so it's like, Jay-Z still was that man. It's 07. It's only 10 years after his great albums. Like, so, you know.
And he was in the game for 15 years at that point anyways.
Yeah, seriously.
And then we're talking this about some of those 15 years ago, so... Like that staying power and just
it is cool, but yeah, I expected more. Not to be
I was the exact same.
All right, so that was our Scottie Pippen, the best feature, right?
Okay. Is it my turn?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, so the Dr. Dre Award for the best beat. The best beat.
Tough one. Because all right, so like to kind of give this, like, because you're gonna give your answer first, but like, do you have the preference of it? Like in my opinion, from what like my ears hearing. It was really tough because there was a lot of similar beats. Like,
there were. Like, there definitely was, yeah.
Not because there were so many different producers. They are different, but there's like, it's like, I hate to say it like this, but it's like it's the solid, you know, your melody, and then it's the drums. Like it's the same stuff. Like, not to be mean, just different sounding of it.
No, there's not too many.
The cadence and stuff through the beat are similar.
There's not too many bridges. So. Actually, I don't think there's any bridges. There's no verses that are really over like 40, 45 seconds. There's no like minute and a half long verses where someone's just killing it.
It's exactly like you would say. Like it's 22 producers on 20 songs. So everybody's trying to like show their versatility through one song.
Else I noticed too, there's a few songs where like the last minute and a half of the song is either the verse just repeated a couple times or the beat just repeating. Like, okay, you just kind of like I'm sorry, the hook.
That was my whole.
It's like you kind of just added like a minute 15 seconds to the song, but you really only had. I've always been a big critic of that. Like
that's filled with this.
DMX, I'll never forget DMX. His autobiography, he talked about like some of the way he likes to craft his songs, and he's like, if you can't put together 3 solid verses about the content like that are focused on whatever your song's trying to say, like I don't think you're a very good rapper. And if you can't rap for 45 seconds to a minute, and your songs,
that is
3 minutes and 10 seconds with the hook and with 2 verses, that like I don't think you're that. That's so. I always look at that like, when did the verse and the actual rapping, when you have something to say, like stop. If that stops at like, you see it now, like some of the mainstream songs on the radio are like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Like, because it's all instrumentals. Like, there's not any lyrical ability. Now we sound like grandpa. Like, get off.
No, but this is the Relistenables. This is what we talk about.
Yes.
We have a standard out here, so I like it.
So all that being said, I'm gonna give an answer that's kind of like one of those songs.
Well, the beat's
the best beat. We Do This. It was by the Runners. I just kind of like that beat.
I liked it a lot.
I like that beat.
Like that.
It kind of sounds like it's ramping up, as it starts. I want to give an honorable mention though.
Let me hear it.
The acts. I love the beats in all 3 acts, and you mentioned that they're all the same beat. Especially the last one where it's T.I. versus T.I.P. rapping and they're kind of arguing with each other. I love those beats.
That's actually my answer because of just how like symbolic it is for this album.
Yeah,
it was because I honestly it was tough. I could probably pick between 8 different songs and give you one great beat if just mixed together, and I could give you that, but it'd be 8 different answers. So, like, because I love the, like, honorable mention, the beginning of Show It To Me with Nelly. Honestly, it's like they got to, like, they're playing with the piano a little bit, and then it, like, they get finally drop into the...
Yeah, it sounds
but then it gets stupid. Then it goes southern.
Yeah, that song's all over the place.
Dude, 25 seconds of beauty.
It sounds...
And then they start talking.
It sounds like they're, like, in a nice jazz club or something, and all of a sudden it turns into, like, this dirty...
Pisses me off.
Like, this dirty strip club song.
Like, I honestly, to be honest, too... I
forgot about the little piano.
It was good. It was good, and then they go away from it, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
That song's all over the place.
Honestly, Touchdown, I didn't like the beat at all. I was trying to look back and I was trying to give it, but I actually I did give it Axe my answer, but the other honorable mention, I liked Hurt. I honestly I forgot how good of a song that was, truly, because I know it's not the greatest song, but for having 2 features on there when none of the features are really that great in this album, and that's the 2 probably best features, to be fair, that sound the best with the song and the beat. The song's actually not bad, and it was the 3rd single that dropped.
Does the song start off with T.I.? It's like ba 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 ba.
And then I love it. I love what he says. We can't repeat it. Really,
can't repeat that.
Yeah,
no.
But okay, that's our Dr. Dre's.
Okay,
and then let's do most relistenable.
Most relistenable. Okay,
and then we'll dive into the Andre 3K, and then maybe a top 5, and then we done, boy.
Okay. So, all right, you want to go ahead? Your most relistenable song?
Yeah, I'll crack it out real quick. So, it was tough. Originally, I'd like to say Big Shit Poppin', but I didn't want to go too generic, even though it did probably deserve it.
Yep.
You know what it is. Like I said a couple times, that was really good. But I honestly, it was tough. I'm choosing between the 2 now. But I think I'm going to go tell them what I said, honestly. I think after to re-listen to this now in 2021 and like where my new like I don't know, it's my standard of music and what I love. Like I'm such a big lyricist guy now, and Tell 'Em What I Said might be, if you're looking because to be fair, Eminem does drop great lyrics. Like he does have he does say I shouldn't say great lyrics, but he's very lyrical, and he does spread the words. He does do his thing.
His wordplay.
His wordplay is there, but if we're going just T.I. and just fair to him, and like on this album, Tell 'Em What I Said is like, and you've gave it love earlier too.
Yeah.
I actually, that one is a new re-listenable for me. That one's going to be on the playlist. I love it. I just love everything. It's when you think about like early 2000s T.I., like when you think about like what he used to stand for, like we've talked about many of times, that's it. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like almost looking at you sideways, like what's up, partner? Yeah. With his head, like hat almost falling off because that's gonna be up here. Thank God I brought that up. T.I. with the hat, man. That's just it. That's like that. Honestly, might even be T.I. versus T.I.P. almost. Like who is T.I.P? That's what they and that's literally the first song I think on T.I. versus T.I.P., which makes actually perfect sense. But like I like bringing that up too when we do these. It's like, what song would you pick that would like one song? What's best explains this album?
That embodies the album.
I'd maybe pick this song.
Okay,
maybe to be fair. So
all right, so I would go. It's
tough I'm going to say Big Shit Poppin'. It's tough not to say
it is. It definitely is. But like I had a different answer for every category, which maybe like the first time I could ever say that.
Yeah, that's
the last act of the album was my favorite act. It sounds like it is yours too. Respect This Hustle. Not a terribly like deep, great song or anything like that. I know it's kind of cheesy. RESPECTNYHUSTLE, but
it sounds cool.
Of like
he makes it sound cool.
And again, it's not terribly deep or anything like that. But that's probably the one song like it comes on like, oh, I haven't heard this in a couple years. I'm gonna listen to it right now. You know what other song like honorable mention. I know it sounds weird, but like the acts, those little interludes.
I wanted to say
those
Act
are
One.
really.
I love Act One, dude. Like honestly, Act Two was the weakest one out of my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
But the Act 3, when he's battling within himself, I was sitting there like, dude, I wonder if he came up with it or if his engineers or producers did, because whoever came up with that idea to edit that so well, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm thinking about doing an album sort of like that, because I might do my next album on here like as like a solo album with no features, just to kind of pound one out, because it's tough to like match up schedules with a lot of people. So
right,
like maybe just to keep it going, I was thinking like it'd be cool to edit myself next to myself talking in another take or whatever. But he did it on here, and I'm like, that's fucking dope. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, dude. Like, because could you imagine that with yourself? Because like I edit stuff and shit, so like it would be really tough for me to get even to a mind frame where I'm acting like I'm talking to myself or something, like he does. And like you hear what some shady does, like Eminem does with some shady, like a lot of people do it. But
you're going through something if you can.
But yeah,
if you're able to do that.
I agree with you. I liked Act 1 and Act 3. Act 2 was still good, but Act 2 was more like out of the three. But I do, yeah, I'm happy you said that for real. So
all right.
And then let's get crazy in the Andre 3K. I've been learning to leave this as the last one. The Andre 3000 award. For people that don't know and that maybe aren't the diehard fan of Andre, but Andre might be the greatest lyricist. Like in my opinion, not to even be a dick, lyricist might give you the best feature of all time because he doesn't come out with solo albums.
Yep.
Like the man might be the most respected artist out of the rappers. Like seriously, they love him. You hear everybody all the time talking about Andre 3K is one of their favorite rappers, and it's probably because he doesn't whore himself out.
He's the rapper's rapper.
So if you listen to like the 8 verses out there that he even has nowadays, like they're nothing but great ones. And he actually has one. He actually has one on Andre, not on Paper Trail, but the one after that.
No Mercy.
No, yeah, he's got dude. He's his verse on in I can't think of the name right now, but it's one of my favorite verses of all time.
Yeah.
But so this one for me, tough album to pick through. Not in the aspect of normally, because usually it's really tough because albums are filled with nothing but great verses and lines. Like we've done Kendrick, 50, Eminem. Like you're gonna get some Cudi on there, which Cudi isn't like the best at like fast rapping and like thug rap, but like he's very good at putting in like emotions into words. So like Drake's really good at that too. Like all the artists that we're gonna be doing. So this one, first album that was really tough for me to kind of pick through that had a meaningful verse or anything. And although I hate the fucking song, but the whole I'll probably just put them up here. I probably won't read it off too much because it's not much to read, not to be a dick, but unless you have the same one. But I honestly, my favorite verse in the whole album, which honestly it wasn't even nothing special, but verse 3, which would be his second verse on watch what you say to me or whatever, with Jay-Z.
Yep.
I could tell that was like he added that in after, that was an addition after he heard Jay-Z's verse. I can just tell. I don't know why. Maybe I'm wrong, but in my eyes, I think he heard Jay-Z and was like, okay, my first half of the song is fucking trash. I didn't do anything with it. Not to be mean. He didn't do anything with that song. I almost skipped it. And then you got Jay-Z comes on, and then I like T.I. T.I. just finally comes with that verse flow. Like you can honestly even say the whole song and tell him what I said.
It makes you wonder, like, did they record those verses in the order they appeared on the song, though?
Had to be, honestly. I bet you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because it gradually gets better.
Okay.
And because we talked about this multiple times now, like, because 50 did it with Eminem, like we talked about, like on Get Rich or Die Trying. Like, I think, like, Impatiently Waiting, I think he heard Eminem go so hard because his first verse is good. I mean, 50's first verse is amazing. And but in my opinion, his second one's better. But I think he added that after he
stepped it up after he heard.
Because we talked about it too when we broke that down. That's the only song on that album that's past like 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Like it's like 4 minutes and like 50 or something, like 5 minutes maybe. Yeah. But I think it's that. I think he added that last 40-second verse because artists do that. I swear. It's like, okay, well, if it's my album,
it's bringing out
my album.
Yeah, bringing out the best in one another, stepping up their game.
And maybe that's why I think Jay-Z's verse was any good, just because T.I.'s first part was so bad that you finally get like, because not to be mean, he just didn't do anything with it. He wasn't trying to rap or anything. He was almost
and how many times you hear the first, you're like, next.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But so like, I'm happy I gave it the chance because Jay-Z gets gradually better than what T.I. did the first part, and then T.I. does way better on the third part. Which the whole time that we're talking, I'll put his verse up there, but it was nothing to stand out for me to like get the like copy and paste kind of. But like, I'm happy to hear yours because I did. Okay, I was honestly afraid to even have that as an award because this is a very tough album to pick from. Not in my opinion. Like we talked about
not
filled with it.
Like the lyrical
punch of this album.
Yeah.
Like we said, it's not too terribly deep. It's not too philosophical. It's a lot of the the Dirty South trap music stuff that we kind of became accustomed to. But and it was a song that I was actually kind of critical of. So my Andre 3000 award for best lyrics were T.I.'s second verse in Touchdown. So like the second half of the second verse, he gets a little like he's kind of calling out some people and talking about like hip hop culture and like well, what do you kind of expect us to do? You kind of mentioned it when we were talking about like how this fame has impacted our lives. So, and I remember this when I was listening to it. He has a line in here about Oprah, and I remember this being a big like it made the news cycles and everything. There was some backlash about Oprah got on our show and said something. So he addresses it here. So at the time, like right now, you're gonna be like, oh, that's nothing. But at the time, I remember this was kind of a big deal. Here, I'll read it. Threat to corporate America. Then why they running from me? How could you be so ignorant? Look at what hip hop done. It's allowed us to run a business, legitimated our monies, got us out the ghettos, relocated our mommies. I made it all the way here. Ain't no way you taking it from me. So excuse me, Oprah honey, I'm really sorry, I promise. But ninjas, bitches, and hoes do exist. I'm just being honest. But why am I being punished? Why is she so astonished? Now I ain't got to agree. Just intelligence and abundance. You ain't got to like me. I know millions of folks that love me. Well, you can tell how they yelling and screaming and wait for me when I touch down. And then right into the hook.
He does. Yeah. He does drop nice little wisdom piece. I liked it a lot.
I like that. I like how it kind of.
You know what's tough though? I think that there would be a lot more in this album to pick out and like, but he says, like we said, he says the same like 5 messages the entire time. Like, used to be a thug. Like, what you used to got him there. Like, what's getting him now. Like, he says the same topic every single song, so you hear the same kind of lyrics.
It's almost kind of like, hey,
the same message, 5 different angles.
Pick up the strap. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Like, I could go out there and slang it.
Pick up a gun, pick up
I could go out there and slang a brick if I had to. Like, I don't have to right now, but again, though, I think there's a reason why. I mean, this is one of, hundreds, if not thousands, of hip-hop albums that are like this. There's a reason. This
is better than those, honestly, to be fair.
And there's a reason for that is because that formula works. Because, these are things that people... Like
I know we're sounding like we're shitting on this album probably, but I'm not. Like I actually like this album.
It probably
I do now. I'm realizing an hour and 11 minutes in that like I think I'm shitting on this album, and I'm not at all because I actually did like it. But it's tough because we set the bar so high here with like Get Rich or Die Trying and fucking Good Kid, Mad City, and like all these other albums I've been doing. It's like it's tough because once you listen to all these great songs, like it just broadens your. I don't know.
I think I kind of said it like your definition of what a re-listenable is like to. Like I said, like to me, if an album has like 5, 6 really good songs on it, it's a really good album.
Yeah.
It is so rare to have an album that has 12, 15.
It's almost funner, honestly. This one, for me, is almost funner to go back on not the greatest album of all time, but like listen to a really re-listenable album. Because there's literally, like we said, there's 14 songs on this album, at least. It could be more in your opinion, and could be less in your opinion. It doesn't matter. We all have different ears, but like at least in my eyes, I know going into T.I.vsT.I.P, like, okay, 14 songs of just nothing but good shit that I want to hear. You know what I'm saying? But there are, your 6, 7 that you could probably skip, but still aren't bad.
Definitely,
I'm still listening to them over a Lil B song.
Like a quantity over quality type thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And like 100%. Like I said at the top, like he's got 3 major albums.
Look at all the projects he's did in the 4 or 5 years we named off. Like, it'd be so tough to even stay on that level. So
he was grinding.
Yeah, hell yeah, he was.
All right, so top 5?
Top 5. We can rattle these off.
You want to go back and forth?
Yeah, we can. Well, actually,
you just want me to give my 5? You give your 5?
I'll go hard on my 5 real quick.
All right, go for it. Let's hear it.
So I'll start at 5.
Okay.
Because 6 was Did I say Act 1? Yeah, it had to be. Yeah, it was Act 1.
Okay.
So number 5 for me would probably, even though it's still not the greatest song of all time, just for how many times I re-listened to it, to be honest with myself, Touchdown. I love it.
Yep.
Still in there.
Yep.
Number 4, I'm probably gonna throw. I I liked Help Is Coming. I know you weren't the biggest fan of it, but I kind of liked it.
Okay.
Just because the first part of it, I was kind of like weary on, because I'm like, all right, you're sitting here talking about bringing a new change to the rap game and stuff, like everybody says, and I was kind of worried he wasn't about the rap. But then he actually came in and actually kind of goes hard there for about 2 minutes, which is enough for me to be like, okay, you're showing me what I want to hear in rap compared to what I used to not want to hear. So, like that. I'm probably gonna go with. Probably Tell 'Em What I Said, number 3, and then You Know What It Is, number 2, and then Big Shit Poppin', number 1.
Okay. All right, so for me, let me see.
Yeah,
my number 5, number 5 would be We Do This. Like I said, I just really like that beat.
It is good.
Number 4 would probably be Touchdown. I know I kind of shit on it earlier, but it's still.
We were shitting on it, but it's compared to an Eminem, like all-time greatest verse.
Well, because we know what both those artists are capable of. We kind of felt like they didn't quite bring it.
All She Wrote. I'm happy you brought that.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
Number 3, Big Shit Poppin'. Number 2, neither one of us has mentioned this song yet, and it's kind of shocking to me that hasn't been mentioned yet, because I definitely feel like it's in the top half of songs in this album. My Type. Last song.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at it. I thought it got too repetitive. That was my biggest thing on it. He's repetitive on a lot of these songs.
You know, the thing about that song, if you go back and kind of listen to it, he's kind of like, you're going to appreciate me if I'm gone, you're going to miss me if I'm gone.
Yeah, I'd love the story.
There's an element of, and with it being, I know on the deluxe version it wasn't the last song, but like just the regular one, that was the last song on the album. There's an element of it that it kind of doesn't really fit in, because the last song on the album, it's almost kind of, you could tell that the death of his friend Fallant Johnson was really big on him. Like, what if this is my last album? Like, what if this is the last song on my last album? It's like, hey, you guys will appreciate me when I'm gone, or you might not.
Yeah, you're looking over me now, but
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely kind of maybe I'm
thinking a little too much.
Strong. No, it's strong.
Maybe I'm thinking too much in that song, but I always like that song. And then number 1, Tell 'Em I Said That.
Is it Tell 'Em I Said That?
Tell 'Em I Said That. Yeah.
Okay, Tell 'Em I Said That. Okay.
It's all good.
Okay.
Tell 'em. Yeah,
I've been fucking up.
I love that song, and like we said, they broke it down into 3 acts. I think the third act's definitely the strongest, collectively. But
yeah, no, hell yeah, I couldn't be. I do know what you're saying though on that. For me, I couldn't put it over Tell 'Em I Said That, and You Know What It Is, and whatever. Yeah. It could probably easily take over Help Is Coming, because that was my answer. That was kind of like my Help Is Coming answer. It was like, I like the meaning of it and stuff. It's kind of, so we each got one. But anything at all you can say before the end of this? I think we did. Honestly, we did better on this album than I expected, because I thought it was going to be tough to get.
I think it kind of goes back to why I wanted to do a T.I. album, because I feel like he's one of those artists that people just have kind of forgotten about.
Yeah, honestly.
When was the last T.I. conversation you had with someone?
Other than...
And I think that this probably is... I don't even know if you could say this is a top 3 album for him.
I don't think it is, to be fair.
For me. It might not even be top 4. But
I am shook at how... Because, for me, just to kind of give one more little, love, I didn't realize how big of an impact that he actually had on that game at the time when he first came out. I really didn't understand it, because... For him to 470,000 units in the first week when Jay-Z couldn't even get 420, and Jay-Z's way bigger at the time.
And you said it though too, Eminem doesn't hop on many people's albums.
Jay-Z does. Yeah, like you
Jay-Z
said,
doesn't hop on many people's albums. You're respected amongst your peers if those guys are doing a feature on your album. I think that says something. And again, I'm not crapping on T.I. or anything. I just think people forget, and it's a little sad to me. I think people forget just how big he was, and he wasn't the best, rap. He didn't have verses Kendrick's Control or anything like that. He had a couple here and there. I actually think one of his best verses ever was on King. I think it was the 4th track. I'd have to go back. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my mind.
He has a couple,
but he had a few where he really went hard.
He does.
But.
His entire
he was
two
consistent.
albums, Trap Music and Urban Legend, are literally nothing.
He was consistent, and I think T.I. just needs some love and respect from us.
So. Yeah, all right. So as much as we do sound like we're shitting on this album, which we're not at all, it still opens number 1 in the U.S. Billboard, top 200 first week. Yep. Like I said, the sales number's crazy.
Yep. It was up for a Grammy for best album.
The Recording Industry Association of America, which is RIAA, which everybody goes off of, they certified it platinum with 1 million units sold.
Yeah.
It's gold in Canada with 50,000 units sold. It made it to number 13 out of 200 albums of 07, which is nuts. Or no, number 31 out of 200. My bad. 31th album out of 200 of 07. It was number 5 of rap.
Okay.
His number 1 U.S. album is opening week or whatever. Number 7 in Canada and number 21 in Japan. I thought that was nuts. Japan didn't see it, but then it had a couple top 50s all over the world, but it was just kind of.
I would say like of his number 1 singles, I would say this is probably on the lower half, right? Like
easily.
Like "Live Your Life." What was the one JT did? That was a real big song.
Do that. Dead and Gone.
Yeah, Dead and Gone. Like to me, those were bigger singles.
Why You Wanna?
What was the one? What was the one he had with Rihanna?
Live Your Life.
That was "Live Your Life." There was an.
He has
what was
so
the one on
many.
Paper Trail? What was the one on Paper Trail? It was a big like club song. Like, oh, you can have whatever you like. Yeah.
Like, that song right there. Whatever
That's
you like
probably
was
his number 1 song, right?
That probably is. I can't lie.
So his next album,
I was gonna
commercially,
say, I don't even think there's a single song or anything on this. This is not peak T.I. We cannot.
It's not.
He's not even.
But
close
it's still really solid T.I. I said,
it might be, or no, it could be peak. It'd be whatever album. The album that came out before this, which was fucking King.
Yep.
No, was it King?
It was King.
Yeah,
In 06.
King.
Yep.
King was probably his peak of his powers. Right at the end of that, going into this album. But yeah, so 06, 07 is his peak. But this album is, I think
Paper Trail's right there. Paper Trail came out in 08.
He takes a dip, goes back up, and then kind of like plateaus for a little bit, and then I would say goes up again through acting. So I don't know. But music, it's definitely probably, I don't know. It's tough. We'll probably talk about it more when we do other albums. But dude, my man. I'm trying to think anything else for T.I. versus T.I.P.
No, that was a good one.
Wow, phenomenal. Hour and 20. Couldn't even believe we went that long.
Yep.
So, but alrighty, guys. Thanks again. Relistenables as always.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, thank you. Hopefully do one again here soon.
Yes.
It's December of 2021. It's wild.
Hard to
so
believe.
Hopefully we get one at Christmas time when we're all dead. So, but all right, everybody have a good one. Sheesh.